I'm walking the walls at Wareham in Dorset. These are Saxon burg or borough, and these walls are very old. I think there's certainly medieval, Saxon, and there is some, I think, Roman occupation as well, but I think these walls were built during the Saxon period by one of the famous Saxon kings, and their name escapes me right now, but I will come to it in the course of this walk. So I'm currently just walking on a lovely November day on a section called North Walls, which overlooks the river, and that mill down there is called North Wall. It's on the site of North Mill. It's now a residence, very ancient mill at the location, and there's a road in the town called Mill Lane which leads to the mill, so obviously emphasising its importance back in the day. I'm at the junction of North Walls and Roper's Lane currently, so let's walk on. There's a museum in the town as well, which hopefully I'll be open and I'll be able to pop in, but one of the reasons why I came here, as you may know, I'm doing my War Games project for the Monmouth Rebellion, making slow progress but that will improve next year. So from next year onwards, really, I'm anticipating having quite quick progress. So but at the moment it's still kind of research and getting things together, a bit of painting as well. But what's significant about here is this is on these walls a bit further around, some of the rebels were hanged, and if I can find a spot that would be great, but it may be that you just will have to imagine. But after the failure of the Monmouth Rebellion, typically there was royal retribution, and as such people either transported, hung, and you know, it was quite easy to determine who were potential rebels, being the fact that they were often merchants and local artisans who during the period of the rebellion obviously were absent, so they were often came straight under suspicion and ultimately trial. So under what's been known as the Bloody Aziz, commenced in the main by a person called Judge Jeffreys. Yeah, so I'm just North Walls, and I'm assuming I'm heading onto the West Walls shortly, because it's now going up there. Lovely, a little bit noisy from the road this time of day. It's busy with early morning traffic. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning, so there's a busy road there, but it's still nice seeing the meandering river there. Right, I'll leave you for the moment and come back shortly. And yes, it doesn't take a mathematician to work out that I am now going from the North Wall onto the West Wall. Sorry, let's move it out. So yeah, I'll bring you some more history of the actual walls and the town as I go around. There's quite a few bits to see. I've been here previously, where I've done walks along in Purbeck, and I'll go along, hopefully go there later, so you'll see a few quite good historic antiquities, a bit like the Victorians used to do. They used to go to these sort of sites and visit them, and world tours even, but and then write about their journeys and paint them, and people were very keen on that sort of thing back in the day. So the early holiday makers, well, this is my version of it from a historical and kind of wargaming context. So yeah, so this is the inner part of the walls. So we just come around there, that's the North Wall, and we've come there, and now we're walking along the West Walls. Now I've got a funny feeling it's along here that the hangings took place. I have read it but previously, but I will. There are notice boards which are very basic summaries, so there's not a great deal of detail, but it gives you the general picture of what the significance of Wareham and these walls are and how they played their part in history. But of course, after spanning quite a long period of history, it means that they can only be but the summary. So nice little bench there, although it's obviously quite built up now as a town. Let's just go along. Right, I'll come back to you because it's all along here shortly, and with when I find something a bit more to say. But I've got a pretty good feeling that it's along this stretch that these rebels I mentioned were hung. Now I think it was like 5 or 6, maybe as many as 10, but I will look it up and I'll bring it to you when I know a bit more details. Okay, see you shortly. Going to be a bit careful underfoot because it's been icy and the ground's quite wet, and I've got my kind of walking boots and things. Good morning. Lovely day. Right, I'll park on this bench and see what's what, and I'll come to you with all the details that I know. Okay, nice bench, well placed. I was right. I've just been sat there, and the rebels were actually hung on Bloody Bank, which is this bank here on the west wall. So for info, I'm just going to leave my bag there and I'll take a walk up to the top of Bloody Bank, just in keeping the fact that I'm doing the project, and I say ultimately it might be a long time ago, but it's worth thinking about these things when you're in the locations where they happen, and the people affected really. But still makes for a good wargaming project. Not getting too emotional about these things, but it's certainly nice to just visit a place where poignantly the people standing for what they believed in met their demise after it all went for them horribly wrong. Right, so this is the west walls, what I believe to be Bloody Bank. One imagines it would have just been along here. Now quite high up, it's difficult to show scale with earthworks and stuff, but obviously there's cars down there. So it's quite formidable. It's actually 9th century where the foundations of these walls, they believe. So that was in what used to be called the Dark Ages, but the period before, the Saxon period before 1066, that was in the 800s and something, where I think it was King Alfred fighting the Danes would have been the so this, I believe, was a fortification fortified by great King Alfred, because Wareham was one of the places where Danes would come up through the River Pool and through the, I think it's a River Froome, is it? I'll have to double check the actual river, but from Poole Harbour there is a river that comes all the way up to Wareham, and we'll take you to the quay later where obviously these places do change with the silting of rivers, things like that. Quite interestingly, that half of the sink ports are now inland due to silt. Sink ports being the ports along the south coast of England that was significant for the early English Navy fleets. Right, let's pause you there. So yeah, just pausing here now on the west wall of Wareham, just looking back along to what is known as Bloody Bank, where I understand a number of rebels, not sure of the number, but I think to the top of my mind, I'm over the west walls. Obviously that's the bank where they hung the rebels. It's West Street now, and now we're just going to walk along here. Oops, sorry. Let's come into the bit here so you can see the ditch. Walk along here, I don't know where it's going to take us, but this is Westport Cottages. I don't know if I said, but they're probably back in the Saxon and medieval periods, there probably would have been a wooden stockade along the top here. So in that regard, probably it's quite a long way down there. It's quite impressive, to be fair. Huh. It doesn't lead to anywhere, just leads to these cottages, so a bit of a dead end there, but it was good to walk along the wall. I'll pause you and bring you back shortly. So I'm walking down a place called Pound Lane. Which is just coming into more central part of the town from where the west wall, where the west wall, I'm assuming, meets the south wall, which is where I've had to turn in, having gone down by the cottages. So I understand this leads to the quay. So it's a Thursday morning. It's about 10 o'clock now. It's always good to, if you're going walking and stuff, to go in the weekdays, because these places get very busy at weekends, which is understandable, because, you know, places of interest and beauty, people have a working week and they go out at weekends to these places, but it does mean it can get very crowded. And if you, like me, like a bit of peace and quiet, particularly when you stop for a rest, it can be a bit overwhelming and spoiling, but it is also good to see people out enjoying making the most of beautiful places or interesting places. Just give me a feel of the town and stuff. There was a big fire here, so a lot of the medieval side of it was all burnt away, but there is still quite a lot here. But I say a lot of it was rebuilt after a big fire. I'll just turn you off now and I'll bring you back shortly. So I've just come back down the high street to back onto the west wall, but on the west, what would it be? The southwest? No, northwest wall. I think we're going onto now. So, so we're still on the west wall here, but on the other side to the one where we started. Still quite impressive. There's obviously broken bits of the wall where there's development, so that's why I've kind of doubled back. expected is just beyond those houses, you can see. We are walking. I'm sure the wind's howling on this phone, so it'll probably have to be a voiceover perhaps, but there I am. Let's go and see the board. Amazing how much time wandering around these places take. Is almost lunchtime, so I arrived just after 8, so it's been an interesting morning. So this is again Wareham Wall. Sorry, there's some in the sun there. It's going to be different, but so this is a small rectangular area bounded by a low bank, has been known as the bowling green for centuries. Whether or not it was ever used for such is open to debate. It's mainly generic, talking about sort of generic, so it's difficult to show you, but I'm going to turn off let's go on to the a bit more sheltered on this side. So this will be the east side of the town and the east side walls. You'll see, for those of you who know the geography here, over that way would be Poole Harbour, and Poole taking you out into the English Channel. I'm hopeful this afternoon I'm going to walk along the ridge that leads to Corfe Castle, and I'll show you Corfe Castle as well, which is quite a spectacular medieval fortress, albeit in ruins these days following the Civil War and definitely blowing it up after the Civil War in probably 1645 to 48, I'd imagine it was blown up. Anyway, I'm going to turn off now because there's a bit of noise. Allotments. Right, up we go. Right, I'll see you when I get to the top. Sorry about the wind noise. There's Wareham over there. Zoom in. I don't think I can. Here's Poole Harbour, and the Danes would sail up Poole Harbour, and where we walked earlier with the walls was Wareham. This is that place there, you can see the church. Well, the river goes all the way up, and the flat bottom boats of the Danes meant they could quite easily go and attack, and I think they did take Wareham back in the day. And it's also a landing spot for the Dukes of Somerset. When they were in the Wars of the Roses, they would come over from the continent, having been there in hiding, or in 1471 or 1470, just before the Battle of Tewkesbury. I think the second Duke of Somerset, or one of the Dukes of Somerset, landed there prior to going up to fight Tewkesbury at Wareham. Okay, I'll be walking along to Corfe Castle if I can. The sun is setting though, sadly, so I may not get the light that I need. Bye. Right, I'm on the Purbeck Ridgeway. And there's Wareham over there in the distance. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the approach to Corfe Castle from the Purbeck Ridgeway. Welcome to Corfe Castle in the gloom. Now, I've been here in the summer, so I do have some better colour shots. My camera's not the best for low light levels, and the light is better in real life than it is on your camera. So that's the sort of Corfe over here to the right, and it was the castle built just after the Norman conquest, but I think it's about 1089, something like that. Possibly been things there before, but certainly as a Motte and Bailey originated. It was very quickly became a stone keep, so it was strategically, it's basically at a point on the Purbeck Ridgeway, which is these hills. I've just walked along. It's a low point, and it's also a sort of gap, so strategically it's very good. Obviously it's got the view of the harbour pool over here. You got Wareham, the Saxon town at the edge of the pool harbour, and it's quite near, obviously, the areas on the continent in terms of having access to the sea and the continent. Now, in the Civil War, it's been blown up after the Civil War, English Civil War. It's the 1640 Wars, or War of Three Kingdoms. It was taken apart after that. It's got a interesting history to the place. It was also besieged by King John's in the King John period, the Barons' Revolt, I believe. I'm not sure if it also featured in the Stephen Matilda Wars, but I think certainly King John, there was a period of time when it was besieged. And in the English Civil War, the Roundheads, it was a royalist place. The Roundheads built a little fort for their cannons, and I think It's these earthworks down here. The gun emplacements just down there, which gave them an opportunity then to fire their guns at the castle. I might be wrong in that, but it certainly looks like earthworks down there in the manner that English Civil War earthworks were. And it would be the sort of range that big guns would be firing, I think. And I don't know why they would build a mound like that if it wasn't for some sort of purpose other than... Sorry, the light level's going. See if I can zoom in on it. Where is it? Yeah, there you are. So you've got these sort of big... And it's actually up bit there, and it sort of comes all the way around like that. And then that would give you a direct fire across this area here to the castle. And I can't see anywhere else where they would be able to drag cannon and fire. And it's if you look at the history of the place, they do mention about the fort. So if I had more time, and maybe in the summer, I will walk along there. But unfortunately, by the time I get there now,